And away we go. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you happen to be in the world today. Welcome, one and all, to Coffee Talk. It is time once again for Coffee Talk Live, where we will be having some discussion about what is going on in the world today. We'll take a look at some clips from the news, share a little bit of dialogue with those of you who are able to join us for the live portion. And if you happen to be listening anywhere else and you would like to join the live portion, you can find us Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, on Coffee Talk, and on Prepper University, at Coffee Talk Live and at Prepper University. You can find me on X at Coffee Talk Chat. You can find me on fistfulofradio.com, podcasting out of Atlanta, and Rumble, Coffee Talk 2 with the number 2, as we get ready to get jumping off here, being joined by Granny Smith. You can't see her. Can't see Granny Smith. She's sitting under me. And I'll go ahead and say hello to some of the people in the live portion who have chosen to chime in. See, Donnie Darko is there today. Jimmy, Jeff, Tuck, Marvel fan, Brian is here. Bob is here. And hello to everyone else who either cannot or chooses not to say hello. Glad you could join us anyways. And again, as we get ready to jump off, I see Kimberly is here. We'll get into the subject of the thumbnail here in a moment. I wanted to showcase something else first, because they finally did it. They finally rolled the old codger out. First time I've seen him since he was basically wheeled out of the Oval Office. Biden is back in the news. That's right. Biden made a public appearance and made a huge ass of himself, because that's about all he's good for anymore, is blithering on about his childhood. I didn't even see his speech or read this yet, and I can already tell you, odds are he blithered on about his childhood, reminisced about his old days in whatever neighborhood he thinks he remembers he lived in, and made comparisons about himself, talked about his family, and probably made some inappropriate remarks. I see Monkey has joined us, as well as Sari Ossifer. So here we go. New York Post article: Biden reminisces about seeing colored kids go to segregated schools. There you go. In first post-presidential speech. Oh my goodness. Former President Joe Biden referred to black children as, quote, colored kids. I guess he thought it was the 1950s again. Tuesday, as he explained what motivated him to get involved in politics during his first public remarks since leaving office. It took that long for them to clean him up enough to even put him out in public. Biden, who is 82, used the outdated and offensive term while telling an anecdote about his childhood move from Scranton, Pennsylvania, to Wilmington, Delaware. There it is, talking about his childhood, in which he noted that before his family relocated to the first state, he'd never seen hardly any black people. Oh my God. Quote, I was only going in fourth grade, he said, as he recalled his mother driving him to Catholic school in Wilmington. And I remember seeing kids going by, at that time called colored kids, on a bus go by. They never turned right to go to Claremont High School. It's because it was a Catholic school, you schmuck. Biden said learning that black children were not allowed to attend public school with white students sparked my sense of outrage as a kid. I really doubt that. And I don't think that applied in Delaware at that time, did it? I'm not 100% sure. The 46th president's remarks at the Advocates Councils and Representatives for the Disabled Conference in Chicago largely centered on Social Security. Then why are you talking about this? Quote, Social Security is more than a government program. It's a sacred promise, Biden argued, before accusing Republicans in Congress of wanting to cut and gut the program that provides benefits to retired Americans. Who the hell do they think they are? An enraged Biden said before pulling back. I will go no further. I'll get into trouble, he said. You're already in trouble. Who the hell do they think they are? You know who gutted Social Security? Biden. Biden took all that money, borrowed all that money from Social Security to dump into the Inflation Reduction Act fund for climate agenda programs. We know this. They admitted that at the time. We know this. You're the one that gutted the programs. And I'm really sick of this Democrat, the new Democrat talking point of running around accusing, because they're all doing it. Bernie Sanders is doing it. AOC's doing it on tour all across the country. AOC, Bernie, when are you ever in your boroughs? When are you ever in your counties representing your constituents? I wonder. Tim Walz is running around. I don't think Tim Walz has been back to Minnesota since he lost the vice presidential run. Oh, Republicans are stealing your Social Security. Has anything happened? Are you on Social Security? Have they touched your check? I doubt it. As a matter of fact, I think an increase is earmarked, correct? And apparently now, and Hillary Clinton too, we read the story last week, apparently now they're going to, the new laws are going to prevent women from being able to vote. So it's going to be 1890 again, or 1880 or whatever. Incredible. 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 Tuck says the return of the Gaff Master General. Yeah, he put his foot in his mouth. I mean, they probably prepped him for the last month. Marvel fan says, God, imagine if Biden won. I know. We'd be about 46 trillion in debt now. And Sorry says, rocket booster appeared to have a small single engine compared to other low orbit rockets and missiles. Doesn't appear powerful enough to take off like that. Well, keep in mind that it's got a small payload, but we're going to get to that in a minute. And I'm going to show why people think this is faked. And I have a few, if you saw my rant yesterday about that whole stupid Blue Origin fiasco, you already know where I'm going with it. Rodney says, I'm surprised Democrats let Biden out of the basement. Then again, they seem incapable of feeling embarrassment. I know. I see Fluke Man is here. Says a British court of 5 judges decided unanimously declared legal definition of woman is biological sex. The fact that this has gone beyond a mental hospital is a disgrace. And Helter is here, as well as Dragon. Sorry is having issues with autocorrect. Don't worry about it. It happens to everybody. And Peter is here. Why is the Amazon rocket even news? That's the primary question. We're going to get to that here in a moment as soon as I'm done kicking Biden around here. I'm just so tired of, I don't want to see these people anymore. I don't want to see Biden. I don't want to see Hillary. I don't want to see George Bush or Obama or Big Mike or AOC or Bernie Sanders or any of them. I don't want to see Maxine Waters. I'm sick and tired of these people. I'm sick and tired of these people. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. But this guy, he rolls out, he makes off-color remarks, talks about his family and growing up in Sacramento, or where the hell he's from, not Sacramento, growing up in Wisconsin or whatever, which he's going to do that because that's all he does with his foggy memory of God knows what. Again, he's had problems with his memory and problems with his behavior since his second aneurysm operation in 1987. You think they've been covering for him the last 4 years in the White House? They've been covering for this guy for 30 years. More than 30 years. And he goes right after the Social Security. Oh, Republicans are going to steal your Social Security. They've been screaming that for decades. And then they're the ones that do it. Again, the whole like Green Deal and so-called Inflation Reduction Act borrowed about every dime possible from Social Security. And everybody knew that at the time. They all knew. And T. Kane is here. He says it's woke propaganda. Yes, indeed. And Peter was wondering if Biden was alive. Well, there he is, unless it was AI. Savage says a private space company founded from ex-space employees landed on the moon and took HD video and photos. Why is celebrities barely half as high in space? Our first launch such a big deal? Yeah, I talked about that in great detail yesterday, but we're going to get to it again here. I'm going to show you the video. I'm going to open this up. I even clipped out my rant. Yeah, all-female space mission. And that's the thing, Kane. All-female space mission. First of all, and I'm not 100%, okay? The deal I read suggested that Bezos was in there with them. If that's true, it wasn't all female. Secondly, they didn't go into space. They only went to the 60-mile mark. They were still in the upper atmosphere. They did not actually go into space. They did not actually go into space. Okay? So that's not true either. There was no mission. There was no mission, and they're not a crew. They were passengers. They were passengers. There's nothing to do in that capsule. Have you seen the capsule? I'm sure most of you have seen it. It's a dome with windows set on top of a high-yield rocket. It's a really light unit, so they can pop that dome up into the upper atmosphere, and then it just falls back down. That's all it is. That's why it doesn't look like it should make it, but it does, because it's more like a missile than a rocket. They pop it up, releases the capsule comes back down. They're probably in suborbit for like 2 minutes. The whole thing only takes 11 minutes from start to finish. There is no mission. They are not a crew. They are tourists. They were passengers. And that's my biggest argument with all of this. My biggest argument with all of this. If they just sat there, and yesterday I called it the world's most expensive carnival ride. The world's most expensive carnival ride, which I think is probably the most accurate description. Elaborate and expensive, but a carnival ride nonetheless, because they don't do anything. They don't do anything. Okay? They sit. Why is this screwing around? They sit in the seats. It's completely automated. It pops them into the upper atmosphere. Hang on a second. Am I back? Okay, it disappeared for a second. Pops them into the upper atmosphere, and then they fall back down. There's nothing to do. Yeah, Rodney says mission, they were passengers on an up and down hop. Yeah. And Savage says the mission was to gain what? Clot through? I can't read that. Raccoon is here. Nature Nerd says, what's with the toxic antisocial Minecraft fans that are trashing movie theaters? I always knew Minecraft YouTubers were the worst. Now this is how they act all grown up. What losers. Peter says it's the distraction of the week. And Caps said, I'm surprised Joe Biden made an appearance. Well, look how long it took for them to be able to get him to a public appearance in the first place. I mean, we haven't seen this guy in a minute, but this is the actual video. This is why a lot of people think this was faked, okay? This video right here, is this going to play? Let me see. Here we go. I'm going to run the video. There's no audio on it. See if it'll work. I'll see if it'll work. But again, there's no freaking mission. There's no mission. They're not astronauts. It's killing me that they're even suggesting there was astronaut training. Oh, they had to complete their astronaut training. They got a physical to make sure they weren't going to have a heart attack and die when the rocket took off. That's what it was. Okay. There's no freaking astronaut training.
her
Here we
mouth,
go.
but really her heart.
And is that
Is it Bezos or Bezos? So I'm having a lot of trouble with this. Let me try to, oh, here it comes. Okay, is it on there now? Is it on there now? Fluke Man wants to know if taxpayers paid for the ride. No, Amazon paid for it. So you paid for it with buying their garbage. Buying their garbage. Ugh, this damn thing. I'm trying to play. Here we go. All right, watch. The door opens. Let me back this up and I'll describe it because people are listening. The door opens from the inside. This woman, okay? And people are saying because it was opened from the inside that the whole thing was fake. So she shuts the door back, the woman on the outside. And then someone comes along. I don't know if that's Jeff or not. And then he goes and opens it again from the outside. And I don't know if it was faked or if that's an indication it was faked or that they just kind of blew the photo op program. Okay. So the person on the inside opens the door. This woman, whoever she is, runs up and shuts it. And then the next guy comes along. I guess that's Jeff Bezos, whatever his name is, comes and pretends to open it back. And is it? And so that begs the question: did they just blow their photo op, or was the whole thing faked? It's plausible that it could have been faked, especially in today's day and age with CGI and with artificial intelligence and everything else. They're producing a lot of stuff that right now 95% of people that looked at it at a glance wouldn't be able to tell the difference between reality and some really good computer animation right now. Okay. And that's where the conspiracy theory is coming from, that they didn't go anywhere, that they just sat in a dummy capsule somewhere and waited. Okay. And like I said, I don't know. I don't see a reason to do that because the mechanism works well enough as it is. Again, they're not going into space. They're not going into space. They're not a crew. There's no astronaut training. It's, again, the world's most expensive and elaborate carnival ride. It's a big booster that pops this little lightweight capsule into the upper atmosphere, and then it just falls back down. The whole thing took 11 minutes. There was no mission. There was no training. They're not a crew. They were half a dozen female passengers. This is not history. And the media is blowing it up. Like this is amazing. Like the Berlin Wall is coming down. Oh, the Soviet Union fell and the Berlin Wall's coming down. It's that level to the media. Social media is tearing it to pieces because of how stupid this is. How stupid this is. Nature Nerd says, how much does it cost to go to space? I don't know. I have no idea what that costs. But it's a tourist attraction. This is it's for tourism. And if they just said, hey, we're going to put some people in here just for the hell of it to show that it's safe for anybody, almost, because we're going to start selling tickets at some point in the future, I would have nothing to say. Who cares? Who cares? But don't act like this is incredible news. We just completed the Panama Canal. World War II has started. It's D-Day. Come on. T. Kane says audio from Jeff after he opens the door. He says she opened the door again. Rodney suggests, yeah, I think they just screwed up a photo op. Very likely. Raccoon says, I think it's fake, but if it really was, what was the point of doing it? No one cares about Katy Perry anymore. Yeah, you want to know how bad this actually is? I got this, okay? I'm gonna cascade these photos. I have mission bios on these quote astronauts from CBS News. I got it off their website. You Peter says they put a man on the moon 55 years ago. Now it's a big deal to get people to the upper atmosphere. Plus, astronauts in training do it all the time. I forget what it's called. They take an emptied out, like military style 747 or larger. I think it's larger, and it's hollow on the inside with padded walls. And they go as high as they can get, and they drop so that you'll free float. They do it with astronauts and with upper atmosphere pilots all the time. And Lucky is here. Okay, get ready for this. Here are your astronaut, for those of you who can see, I'll try to describe it as best I can for those of you who cannot. Astronaut bios from CBS News. I'm not kidding. Katy Perry, call sign, feather. You see them in their little astronaut uniform here, right? And all the makeup and the perfect Photoshop. Hometown, Santa Barbara, California. Items you're bringing to space. Bracelets for the kids at Firework Foundation, whatever that is. Okay? Seriously, astronaut bios from the Taking Up Space mission. Yeah, they're taking up space all right. Lauren Sanchez, call sign, double shot. You can't make this stuff up. Hometown, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Flight goal to inspire kids who learn differently to reach for the stars. Learn differently? What does that mean? Double shot. Double shot, is that what it takes to get her into your motel room? God. Gail King, call sign, sunshine. Oh my God. Hometown, Tennessee, Maryland, California. Well, that's not a hometown. That's 3 different states. Where's your hometown, bitch? Flight goal. I'm stepping out of my comfort zone to show us all that we can face our fears and experience something incredible. Oh my God. And how much makeup? I mean, this is like glamour shots photos here. Aisha Bowie. Is she the activist? Or no, Aisha is the actual person from NASA, correct? Although she's not an astronaut. Call sign Exuma. Hometown Ann Arbor, Michigan, by way of Nassau, Bahamas. Flight goal to conduct science in space that will benefit humanity on Earth and inspire future generations. What scientific experiment did she conduct in her minute and 30-second free fall, I wonder? What was the scientific experiment, her flight goal to conduct science in space? I'm like doing science and stuff, yo. Amanda Nguyen, call sign, dragon. Oh, that's not stereotyping at all. Oh, my call sign is a dragon. Hometown, Corona, California. Oh my God. This is the whole show right here. I mean, I could stop right now. No, it's not going to be. I have plenty of other news, trust me. But seriously, flight goal to uplift the Vietnamese and Southeast Asian community. Why? China goes in space all the time now. How are you uplifting the Vietnamese and Southeast Asian community? Oh my God, these people. Carrie Ann Flynn, call sign, whip. Is there a hidden message in that call sign, sweetheart? Is this something we should know about you? Oh, that's way too much makeup. She looks like a drag queen. Hometown, Sterling Heights, Michigan. Flight goal to make space for women, literally and boldly. Because, like, girl power, yo. Seriously? To make space for women. My God. I just I don't even know what to say. Yeah, Tuck says photos aren't flattering. No, none of the photos are flattering. And Nature Nerd says they look like Star Trek uniforms. They do. Oh my God. Rodney, if the women are astronauts, I'm an airline pilot because I've taken a few airplane rides. Indeed. Indeed. The yeah, Monkey says the astronaut cards are cringe. They are. But this is CBS News did these. Again, I got these off one of their web pages. Bianca says, I think they were hankering for attention. Unfortunately for them, big flop, nobody cares. Yeah, but the media is tearing this. They're blowing it up so much. Like this is such a massive historic event. And it's just bullshit. And again, on social media that's not attributed to a mainstream media outlet, let's put it that way, because on social media, all mainstream media has a social media connection, and they utilize those. But average person on social media, they're tearing this to pieces because it's such bullshit. Monkey says looks very photoshopped. Rodney says Sanchez looks like an alien in human skin suit. Oh my God. I know there's so much that could be said. Puck says, I don't know. I don't think there's a need to fake it. What purpose would it serve? This wasn't a big deal. No, it's not. I don't think it's faked. I don't think it's faked, but the historic significance is very fake. There is no historical significance here at all. And at some point in the future, maybe within the next 5 years or so, they're going to be popping those rockets into space constantly and charging tickets. And there are people that will pay to do that. I don't know how much. I couldn't tell you what it costs to do this. But it's going to get to be a regular thing. While everybody thinks you need to be driving an electric car, including Jeff Bezos, he doesn't mind burning a few 100,000 gallons of rocket fuel and liquid oxygen to do this bullshit. My goodness. Incredible. I know I'm way, way, way behind on comments. This just cracked me up so much, especially the call signs. Amanda Yen, call sign. It's a dragon. Oh, so call sign dragon. I just that is so stereotypical. Did she actually come up with that on herself, on her own, I should say? And exuma. In what definition are they using that term? Exuma. Okay. Exuma. I was wondering what she meant by that. Call sign Exuma. That's a location in the Bahamas, which is where she's originally from. Okay. Monkey wants to know where's Bezos' astronaut card. Well, he doesn't count because he's not female. Tuck says 21st century is a disappointment. It's saying something I didn't have high expectations. And I'll reference you again. I've mentioned this before to Rob Van Winkle, aka Vanilla Ice, who said in an interview not too long ago, nothing has happened in the 21st century. The last thing that was in any regard culturally significant, according to Rob Van Winkle, was the invention of the iPod, and that was all the way back in 2003, and everybody's already forgotten about that. Nothing has happened. Nothing really has happened. Selma wants to know if this is the New World Order. We're getting there. We're getting there. This is so bad. This is so bad. I had to share those bios. I had to share the bios. I love Gail King's call sign, Sunshine. I doubt it. And Lawrence Sanchez, double shot. Call me double shot. I wonder if people are actually going to go around calling her double shot. She looks like she's had plastic surgery because she's got that tuck on the edge of her cheeks that lead into her lips. I bet you she's had her face worked on. Just speculating. I don't know. But I had to show that. I mean, just when you thought this couldn't be blown up and bullshitted enough by the media, this mockery to people who really trained in the Air Force and in NASA and other aeronomic fields. Yeah, that's what Fluke Man says here. Insult to those who worked hard to make it happen. We don't. Why don't we hear about them? Incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And Mark says, we all know Democrats are hypocrites. Lucky said, call sign Dragon, the prince of the power of the air. It's all bullshit, like Hillary trying to break the firmament. And Tuck said Van Winkle has a point. Rob Van Winkle, if you hear him in interviews, he's actually a pretty smart guy. But yeah, this is nothing. This is the most nothing news. This is the most nothing news. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. I got some more for you. We're gonna get off that subject though. We're gonna get off that subject. I'm sure we'll be hearing more about this in the near future. But we're gonna talk about AOC making an ass of herself again. Okay. Fox News article, social media erupts. I don't know about that, but that's what they like to say. Erupts after AOC debuts another strange accent at a rally, right out of Kamala's playbook. And they call that coding. This is where these people, they get in front of an audience and they talk like what they think the people in that audience will identify with. And it's supposed to be clever somehow. To me, it's insulting because you're still a phony. You're phony. People will sit there and say, oh, well, she's talking, let's say for Kamala Harris as an example, and she's down south and she's talking like she's black from the south. Okay. And people are like, oh, that's the real Kamala. You don't know what the real Kamala sounds like. She's either faking to you or she's faking to everybody else. Either way, she's lying to somebody, and you want to trust that? There's nothing special about coding. It's insulting. Democrat Representative AOC faced blowback from conservatives on social media this week after they accused her of putting on a fake accent at a rally. The progressive New York congressman held a rally in Nampa, Idaho, with Senator Bernie Sanders. And as I alluded to earlier, I'll ask the question, why the hell is AOC and Bernie Sanders in Idaho instead of New York and Vermont? What the hell are you doing in Idaho? When are you ever in your counties representing your constituents? I see them everywhere else. Woo. It says on Monday, where she reportedly drew over 12,000 people and caught the attention of conservatives, more than just conservatives, with one particular clip where she was accused of deliberately changing her tone of voice. Oh, look, AOC's doing the interchangeable accents to fit in with the demographic again. And this is the clip. And I'll run it for you. She's done this several times. This is not anything new. But it just represents how phony these people are. She does it all. Usually it's females. You notice that?
And we saw it just happen with Trump's corrupt and disastrous and rushed tariff scheme. We saw Marjorie Taylor Greene buy that dip. Question for her, how much did you make? How much did you make off of people's despair? How much did you make off that panic? How much did you make off of that suffering? No more. We can't accept it.
The same thing could be asked of AOC. How much are you making off of pandering? Or Bernie Sanders? Or Nancy Pelosi or any of them?
How much did you make off of that suffering? No more. We can't accept it. It was all, I hope we see now, that it was all about manipulating the markets so that he could quietly enrich his friends who bought the dip before reversing it all in the morning. Boise, this is a matter of fact. Donald Trump is a criminal who was.
So, Dale, you really need to get.
About that. That's not true, but whatever.
Liable for sexual
Never
abuse.
happened.
Of course he's lying and abusing and manipulating the stock market too.
Like Nancy?
When he talks about rapists and criminals, he should look in the mirror.
And purple-haired people and green-haired people in the background behind her. Half the people in the audience behind her have dyed hair. Selma says they're trying to feminize men. Of course they are. That's been going on for like at least the last 20 years. JJ has joined us. Big Red, I'll put that up, but I can't read it. I'll put it up, but I can't read it. I could beat that horse to death over and over and over again. We all know what Alvin Bragg did in New York, how he twisted the law to force a conviction that the judge will not even sentence because he knows that if it goes to a higher court, it'll be thrown out. He did not do anything illegal there. It is not 34 felony convictions. That's a lie. It's one conviction that, again, the judge refused to pursue. 34 counts on a conviction. It's not the same thing. ARN says, would you mind describing oligarchy to refresh us? Thank you. Again, that's what she's doing. She is an oligarchy. She is an oligarchy. And I had done a video on that some time ago. You can find it in my archives because I caught it when they changed the definition online. I caught it when they changed that definition online. Incredible. But look at her audience. These are the people that she panders to. These are the people that she panders to. Puck says that he didn't know who it was when he saw the clip earlier today. Yeah, that was AOC. It doesn't sound like her, does it? It doesn't sound like her because she's playing games. Peter says they add chemicals in hair to dry rot their brains. You know, their hair will eventually fall out if they keep doing that. You get to a point where it won't grow anymore. And Rodney made a donation to the channel. Thank you, Rodney. Very much appreciated. As you're all well aware, any donations typically go towards taking care of our shelter cats. So much appreciated. Much appreciated. And again, when are these people ever, because she was out there with Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, here it is. And this is a CNBC article. CNBC article I'll pull up here. And they're running around the country. When are they ever in their own state doing their job? When? I've said the same thing about Tim Walz. Tim Walz is doing town hall meetings everywhere but Minnesota. I don't think he's been back since Harris lost. Raccoon says, I hate it when they accuse Trump of assault when Biden was accused by his secretary in the 90s. That's true. And Biden is far more creepier for a lot of reasons without even getting into that. Without even getting into that. Here it is. CNBC AOC fundraising soars as the New York representative of Bernie Sanders barnstorm U.S. against Trump. And there they are at a rally, and there is the sign, Fight Oligarchy. Really sick of that. Really sick of seeing that. Fight Oligarchy, Bernie Sanders, who himself you could claim is one. As well as AOC. What? Representative AOC raised $9.6 million during the first quarter of 2025, the strongest ever quarter for the New York Democrat, a campaign financing filing showed on Tuesday. For what? AOC's huge money haul, more than 5 times her tally in the first quarter of 24, comes as she and Senator Bernie Sanders draw in big crowds at the Fight the Oligarchy rallies they're doing around the United States. The two progressives at those events criticize President Trump's policies and highlight the role that billionaires, including Doge chief Elon Musk, have in Trump's administration. Turnout at the rally according to his public fund. Progressives are angry at her fellow New York Democrat voting for a Republican-sponsored resolution to avoid a government shutdown in March. There are widespread calls for new leadership in the Democrat Party due to its losses in the White House and Senate in the 24 elections. So she's going across the country to rally for votes for her election? What the hell are they getting money for? And where do these people get the money to give? Where are they getting all the time these millions and millions of dollars to give away? I don't know if it's true. How do I know that those donations came from that? How do I know these donations didn't come from the 300-year-old Social Security people? Or the people that are on unemployment that are under the age of 5 that's been exposed? Where is this money coming from while everybody's claiming they don't have any? And what are they donating it to her for? What are they donating it to them for? And why aren't these people ever in their states doing their jobs? That's the part that really pisses me off. Bernie Sanders, never in Vermont. AOC, never in New York. She's always somewhere else picking a fight with somebody. What the hell? Rodney wants to know if AOC teaming up with Sanders and touring because she thinks she has a shot at being the presidential nominee in 28. Oh, yeah, Puck says, ask Ashley Biden. Yeah, where is that? Whatever did happen to that journal that she used to keep, her diary? JJ said, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, for those unfamiliar, stated that stupid people are far more dangerous to society than evil people. His words ring true today. Yeah. Big Red suggests AOC, Bernie, Hillary, Obama, Pelosi, Schumer are the oligarchy. Yeah, several of them. Several of them. And Screw YouTube says it is all AI anymore. And it sure looks that way, doesn't it? Sure looks that way. I know I'm way behind on the comments, but, you know, it is what it is. These people are touring the country and collecting money for God knows what, and they're getting it. 9.6 million so far. on this Fight the Oligarchy tour from two extremely wealthy politicians who didn't start out that way. And Bernie in particular really pisses me off. That guy didn't even work till he was like 40 years old. He never held a job, and his first job was the mayor of a sleepy town in Vermont. How did that happen? How the hell did that happen? Huh, Bernie? Lucky says, do a 2-hour show, have your girl chime in when she gets home. This show should be big. It would be nice if it was, Lucky. I could use the promotion. A lot of people tell me that, just sidetracking for a second there, since Lucky brought it up. I hear that all the time. But, ScrewTube suppresses the channel, both channels, because it's podcast to two channels, Prepper University and Coffee Talk. Although Coffee Talk is the primary for this podcast. I don't get good promotion, and I don't get any assistance from ScrewTube. They crush me. But yeah, I mean, it would be nice. And if I thought I had the audience for it, I'd do a longer one, or I'd change the time so that she could come on. Because, she sat in with me once, and she popped in once, and people liked it. And because she has a lot of great points of her own. Pruder said, put show up on podcast 2.0. What is podcast 2.0? I'll write it down. I don't know if I've heard of that. Rodney says the donations are likely a mix of stolen tax dollars and from people like Soros, Klaus Schwab, and Bill Gates. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if that's where the money actually comes from. And Rodney says that YouTube's hiding his comments again. I'm sorry about that. I know that they do that. They do. Their bot will automatically strike comments. I don't even see them. Because I'll rarely block anybody. I'll rarely block it. You'd have to be a really disruptive troll for me to block you. Because I've even let trolls go on in here and just ignore them. Well, since we're talking about politicians, I may as well give you some corruption. Who wants to see some corruption? Corrupt politics at its finest. Okay? Corrupt politics at its finest. Daily Caller article coming right up. Hot off the press. Actually, it is, because this is a new story. Gay California official fueled flamboyant lifestyle. Well, they all fuel a flamboyant lifestyle if you've ever really watched that culture. But gay California official fueled his flamboyant lifestyle with funds from a shell campaign. Oops. And busted. Can I guess? Can I guess he's California Insurance Commissioner spent tens of thousands in funds from a shell campaign on lavish meals and glove-trotting travel. I think they meant to say globe-trotting travel, while skipping key hearings on the state's worsening insurance crisis. Oh, yes. Richard Lara, who hasn't officially announced the run for higher office, used over $30,000 from his lieutenant governor's campaign committee for fine dining expenses, including $700 tabs at celebrity chef restaurants and first-class travel to destinations like Bermuda, Paris, and Bogota. The report alleges the state's top insurance regulator, a homosexual, has been wining and dining with industry insiders while providers flee California's neglecting his elected consumer protection duties at a time when many residents in wildfire zones are left without any coverage. He's a perfect example of someone who had no business being elected to this position, but he was supported by the Democratic establishment. Oh, so he is a Democrat. I was right. The investigation alleges Laura's campaign expenditures included extravagant meals at upscale restaurants like San Laurel in Los Angeles, where he reportedly ordered dishes like jamon Iberico sea urchin, a $16 grapefruit lobster salpicon. I don't know how to pronounce that. Blah, blah, blah. Expensive food. I get it. Oh, my God. Meanwhile, Laura has missed numerous Senate insurance hearings meant to address ongoing crisis in California's homeowner insurance market. Laura skipped the first state insurance hearing of 25 entirely, choosing instead to spend it in Bermuda at an insurance summit where a large chunk of global reinsurers are based, many of which hold financial stakes in California's wildfire claims. So he got elected to the position, hasn't attended any meetings, hasn't really even done his job at all. Okay. And that's Richard Laura on the right there, holding the woman who looks like a dude with the big chin. And has spent over $30,000 on expensive restaurant tabs, as much as $700 a meal, and traveling to Paris and Bermuda and other places on the taxpayer dime through a shell corporation that he set up that's supposed to be hosting campaign funds. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Peter says, look up Adam Curry, the Podfather. He's the Podfather created podcast. Okay. I don't know if I've heard of him. I will look that up though. Tuck says no consequences for them. We'll see. We'll see. It sounds like he's on the chopping block right now. He's not important enough to protect. Not important enough to protect. But wasting taxpayer money all the same. Wasting taxpayer money all the same. Must be nice. $700 meal. Can you imagine sitting down for a $700 meal? Eating food you can't pronounce? I couldn't imagine spending $700 on groceries for the month. I wouldn't spend that much. $700. That's like a mortgage payment. Oh my God. Fluke Man says, I'm mixing with the wrong crowd. Isn't it nice to be in a high position without doing your job? And Caps says he should be punished and fired. Indeed. I'm waiting for it. God, this corruption kills me. And one more corruption. One more. Another Democrat lawmaker. Coming right up. Well, not a Democrat lawmaker, but a Democrat in a political position. Newsweek. Documents showing Letitia James's residence could be legal problems for the Attorney General. And that is the Attorney General in New York, Letitia James, New York's Attorney General. Newly discovered documents alluding to the residence residents of New York. James, 66, has served as New York's Attorney General since 2019. The Democrat is the first African American and first woman to be elected to that position in state history. Oh God, it's more history. She has gained notoriety in her various legal battles against President Trump and his family, notably a New York judge's ruling in 2024 ordering the then former President Trump to pay $454 million civil fraud judgment after James sued him for falsely inflating the value of his property. You want to know what she's in trouble for? The same thing. James, who was born in Brooklyn and unmarried, filed the civil fraud lawsuit against Trump and the Trump Organization. However, according to legal filings reviewed by Newsweek, 2 months prior to that suit being filed, James amended her own records, real estate records, as part of a real estate transaction. A specific power of attorney document signed by James August 17, 2023 shows her intent to change her residence to Norfolk, Virginia. The Attorney General authorized her relative, Shamice Thompson Harrison, to act on her behalf. The document states, "I hereby declare that I intend to occupy this property as my principal residence." The existence of the documents reported by San Antar of the White Collar Fraud blog. The 1,450 square foot single family home property in Norfolk was built in 1947, has 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom per the deed, purchased for $250,000. James and Thompson Harrison have equal ownership rights as both are listed within as co-owners. A separate land record stipulates both women to occupy, establish, and use the home as their principal residence within 60 days. This is a potential problem. Former federal prosecutor Nima Rahomi tells Newsweek, state law says the following: when an officer removes her residence from the territorial limits required by statute, the office is rendered vacant. Basically, she falsified the document to make it seem like she still lived within the correct zone for her to maintain her job as Attorney General, but she was living elsewhere. Either way, one of those residences, the documentation has been falsified, which is a felony. So if it can be demonstrated that she has not been residing there in New York, then it challenges every decision she's made as Attorney General since 2023. If it's demonstrated that she has been in New York and she falsified the deed to the property in Virginia, then that's real estate fraud. And then she can be sued in Virginia for that. Either way, she's screwed. It's illegal one way or illegal the other. But she broke the law and then went after Trump because of alleged real estate transactions. Puck says Letitia James is in a pickle, barring shenanigans. It's a slam dunk conviction. Yeah, one way or the other, she's screwed. Tuck says she has to be a dude. Oh, God. You think? Is she up there with Big Mike? Either way, one way or the other, something is falsified. Either she resided in New York and the deed is illegal, or she lived in Virginia and her job is illegal. Better to take the fraud case in Virginia if she can get away with it, because if it turns out that she was illegal as Attorney General, they'll unravel every case that she's been on all the way back to 2003. Or the specific date, August 17th, 2023. She's in a lot of trouble. That's bad. That's bad. Doesn't surprise me. It's amazing to me what these people get away with. Absolutely amazing to me what these people get away with. Peter, let me ask you: do you know Adam Curry, or you just know about him? As we get close to wrapping up here, let me go ahead and, yeah, you guessed it. We're going to open the debt clock. We're going to open the debt clock, not the death clock. That was a fictional band. We're opening the debt clock to see where we are at. See where we are at. And it's nice to see, again, national debt ticker is going slower than I've seen it in the past. That's important. And Doge projected savings at $324 billion. That looks like it's slowing down a bit too. I'd like to see that going a little faster. Come on, Elon, kick it into overdrive. Kick it into overdrive. And Rodney says, crazy that the debt is rising at a crazy rate despite the money being saved. That's still slower. I've seen it where the millions category, where it starts with 958 there, is going as fast as the hundred thousands category. So that is slower. It's a start. Rodney, yeah, I read that. Peter says, I've spoken to him a few times. He has a show, No Agenda, which is very popular. Been on Rogan 5 or 6 times. Okay. So if I told him you recommended me, or if I sent him a message, he'd know who you were. Because I don't mind asking. I mean, I'll take all the help I can get. This is not easy. But anyway, we are at the top of the hour. So I'll go ahead and start signing off. Again, you are listening to and Fluke Man, what are they going to do with the Doge money? Let me tell you real quick. Most of it is going to go back against the debt. It's going to be set against the debt. And then the difference, some of it, they're kicking around the idea of giving back to the American people as a show of good faith in like a bonus check, like what people got during the COVID nonsense. So again, thank you everybody for joining us here today. Glad you could join us. Special thanks to Rodney for making a donation to the channel. Always appreciated. All the help we can get for our feline fund. So again, you are listening to and or watching Coffee Talk. You can find the live portion Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, on Coffee Talk, and on Prepper University. You can find me on X at Coffee Talk Chat. You can find me on fistfulofradio.com, podcasting out of Atlanta. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here today. As always, hope you got something out of the conversation. And we will see you again tomorrow.